welcome to Phoenix Conjure. This is Phoenix and we're going to talk a little bit about ancestors today. So, practicing hoodoo, and when I say practicing, not everyone's going to be like a conjure woman, but you can use hoodoo, and I say for two basic reasons. If we're going to break it all the way down, hoodoo is for protection and it's for prosperity. And so when you are looking at maybe incorporating hoodoo into your practices or falling behind or enhancing your knowledge of hoodoo, those are two basic tenements that are going to be studied. And on both ends of those, when we're asking for things from our ancestors and when we are asking for protection and asking for them to lead us and guide us, we need to be cognizant that we are also giving thanks and gratefulness back to our ancestors, our African slave ancestors who created this practice, whose blood, sweat, and tears, whose sorrow and pain really made the foundation of hoodoo and what it is. So we must always honor them in our work, not just our ancestors, but all of the slaves that went through this horrible, terrible time and had hoodoo as a magical tool to help them get through it. We have to honor them in all our prayers, our petitions, and in all our work. So it's a good thing to start off with building your altar or incorporating some of the hoodoo traditional things in your altar as a way of praise. If you build an altar, you want to make sure you have the 4 elements of the earth. So you want to have an earth element, a water element, an air element, and a fire element. On my personal altar that is in my room, in my back room, I have the goblets, you know, the crystal cups that look kind of fancy. And I found a set, it was red and white and blue. And that was one way for me to remember, you know, fire. I put my liquor in there as a form of fire when I give my liquor offering to my ancestors. Rum, we're Caribbean, so we do rum, a lot of rum. And if it's for air, you know, that one's just, it's empty, but I will sage, I will burn in that goblet just because it visually helps me. It's not something that's like written in stone or has been passed down. It's a visualization. And I also think it looks nice. And then for water, I do have my holy water on my altar there. I also have fire represented by a candle. I burn the candle when I give offerings to my ancestors on the plate, but I also will light a candle, pray at my altar. So I do have a space, another space for fire. And for earth, I do have fresh flowers, plants that we put on our altar. So your altar can have those elements, and it can also have stuff that's special to you. So I like crystals. I have crystals on my altars. That mean on my altar in the back room and also in the front room. And I'll show you the one in the front because that's open to guests. The one in the back is personal and private to me, so I don't display it as much. But I definitely will put crystals on the altar. And then I'll put things that I know my personal ancestors have liked, or if I'm praying to a certain deity or a god that I'm incorporating into my practice, I'll put things on there that they like in addition to food offerings. How often do I do food offerings? I would say maybe once or twice a week. It's completely up to you. Some people do it daily. I do fruit a lot. So when the fruit starts to look a little suspect, and I can honestly say when the fruit's on the altar as opposed to my kitchen, it lasts a long time. I don't let it rot. But just before it gets to be like, okay, well, this fruit they've already taken the offering. It's time to replenish. It's usually about 3 or 4 days. And I do a lot of kind of a Caribbean type of fruit, exotic type of fruit when I get my hands on it because I know that my ancestors on that side like it. And then I'll do a lot of down-home southern cooked food I'll sit and eat and share, and then leave that plate there and let the candle burn out. I'll do that for my southern ancestors. So it all depends on you. Sometimes we pray to different slaves that led the way in the revolution. Cut right there. Some people do include different slaves from the revolution. Like I was reading a book and they were talking about Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, and different prayers you can say and petitions you can say to include them in your spiritual work at your altar. Some basics for your altar. So when you light your candle, tap 3 times or and call your spirits down to come and pray with you, eat with you, protect you, guide you, communicate with you, build a relationship. So you'll go to your altar and you'll tap down 3 times, call on your ancestors, and open that vessel of communication with them. You always want to have your cup of water and your candle lit there, ready to go, because that brings in the ability for them to come into this world and converse and transverse with you. So just like you open up that portal, when you're done, make sure that you say a prayer and thank them and send them back on the way, and close that portal on down. Sage, bless it, but let the spirit well know that you're closing that portal and going on your way. But that's a good daily practice. If you open that portal, make sure you close it as well. Another basic, if you are making an altar, so you can make it on any surface. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be anything special. On my personal altar, I have pictures of my ancestors all over the wall. Behind them, you can put a picture on your altar. It just really depends on your space. Some people don't have a lot of space, and they might have a shelf. For a long time, we had a mini refrigerator in our room, and we use the top of our mini refrigerator. What we did do to designate the space is a prayer cloth was put over the altar, so then that way it protected the surface. But you can also pray over and open up that prayer cloth and anoint it. And when I say anoint it, you pray over it. You can sleep with it under your pillow for several days. You really got to give it your essence and your spirit before getting it on your altar and it becomes a part of your altar. Once you got that altar built and you're ready to start building a relationship with the ancestors and also giving the thanks to those that have paved the way, once you have that done, you want to make sure to bless your altar, clean your altar. A lot of times you can put like blue anil and Florida water in a spray bottle. And let me see, I actually brought some stuff. I've been locked away, so I'm running out of stuff, but I'm waiting on orders to come in. But this is, let's see, a great way once you build your altar and to cleanse your space down. These little balls I got from the Uberia. I actually ordered these, but they also come like this. It's actually a laundry detergent, and it's used for kind of repelling negative energy, cleansing. I would personally put hyssop. Hyssop is an herb that's used for purification. It's quoted a lot in the Bible. I would put blue anil, let it dissolve with a bit of boiled hyssop. So boil the hyssop like a tea. Boil the hyssop like a tea and add it into the water with the blue anil and a little bit of Florida water. Pray over it, or, you know, chant over it, whatever it is you believe in. Put it in a spray bottle, and you can spray down surfaces with that to cleanse and to purify. So that may be helpful. If you don't have any of these, or hyssop, because it's not like hyssop's going to be at the grocery store, there are things like bay leaves that would work. Let me think. I made a list so I didn't forget, because I have like so many, but the basic ones, sage is a good one to burn, but you can also add it to your washes. Mint, lemongrass, lemon balm, star of anise can be found in the grocery store, basil. These can be dry or fresh, because you'll boil them into a tea, incorporate them into your floor wash, and you can put some kind of washing detergent, Florida water if you have it. If not, you can use vodka, and then cascadia. Let me take it out, because and this is another thing that you can actually make this if you can't get to the Botanica or the Uberia, or the orders aren't coming in because of everything that's going on. It's actually crushed eggshells. So it used to be the root of a plant in Africa. They didn't have access to that in the Caribbean and in the United States. They made a form of it out of crushed eggshell powder, which is easy to get. It's actually calcium for dogs, so they sell it as like a dog treat, but you can also make it yourself. You can dust your hands with this and make symbols on cascadia. You can, we have X's on our vents, our house, on our door, in my car. My cousin hates it. He's like, take that off your dashboard. I'm like, no. Cascadia repels any negative energy that's coming your way, and also blocks your area, your surroundings, your aura, from any negativity coming in. So you'll see me make X's on my hands before I leave. I'll put it on the bottom of my feet. And then after a spiritual bath, I will cross my own chest, cross my back, on the palms of my hands and the palms of my feet, as just a way not to pick up negativity as I go forward. So that's also a good one. And then after you kind of clean your altar space, smudge your altar space with sage. And I know you guys know about burning sage to bring in wisdom, purify the air, reverse any spells, clear your space, make sure you're opening your windows, smudge your altar. There's a lot of different smudges you can do, but sage is a very basic one that you are able to get basically anywhere. You can get fresh sage or dried sage at the grocery store. So I'm trying to keep referring to materials that you can get at the grocery store that are readily available or that you can order that will come fairly quickly, because there are a lot more complicated herbs that are harder to get. But as you learn about which herbs are for protection, because this is research, you didn't have the honor of, a lot of us didn't have the honor of 20 or 25 years learning under our grandma or great aunts or the women in our community. So you can't just look up on the internet and get a spell or a ritual, because a ritual is a habit. It's something that you build and you do that turns into a ritual. And that's where the strongest work comes from when you're doing it for prosperity and protection. It comes from, you building habits, learning your work, learning what roots work for you. So sage is a good one to get in the grocery store. Another one was bay leaf. Bay leaf is prosperity and protection. It kind of does it all. It's a herb of fortune. So if you have bay leaf, you can put that under your pillow for dreams, to bring in prosperity. I carry it in my purse. I have one of those little, when you go to a baby shower and you get the little bags that the little treats come in, and it has a little tie and it's like a sheer little bag. I found like 100 of those for a special price, and I'll put my herbs that I want to carry with me in that little drawstring bag. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you carry that. If you carry that pressed in your wallet between your credit cards or money, it's supposed to be for good luck. But it's also a good one for just protecting and cleansing your energy. So bay leaf is always good. A protection bath for beginners is to boil that bay leaf, let it cool down, of course, or you can add it to your bath, but to boil that bay leaf and strain it, or leave the leaves in if you like that, and take a cleansing bath. And when you're taking those cleansing baths for protection or prosperity or whatever you're calling your intentions for, it's always recommended to take your solution or whatever and cleanse yourself, rinse yourself after you've washed your face and tweezed and shaved and whatever it is you need to do in there to get right. But after you've done all that, you'll wash from your head, or if you're in an actual bath, you'll take the mixture and you'll wash from your head, while you're praying, while you're saying your intentions. You'll take that way all the way from your head down to your body. Get your girls, get everywhere in there, all the way down to your feet while you're praying and concentrating and visualizing what it is you're asking for. Now, if you just got your hair did, and these are serious questions, like my son, he's trying to cut all his hair off, and now he wants waves. So he's like, Mom, do I have to do it from the top of my head for it to work? Yes, that's suggested, but in other situations, take it from your crown. Take it from your crown or your third eye and wash that down, because that's what we're trying to get to. Like hoodoo, we're working with the palms of the hands, the head, the neck, so you want to make sure that you get the primary areas over your heart where you're protected, your feet where you walk in purpose every day. You want to make sure to include those things. Let's see here. Floor washes. That's another thing. So when you're starting out for protection, because when you're opening up to a spiritual world and you're asking to work with magic, you want to cleanse yourself and make sure that you're ready to go. And you also want to repel and expel any negative energy that's around you and your surroundings. And then you want to build a wall of protection. So if you're starting out, I don't want to hear any questions of, girl, how do I make my man come back to me because he done got with his ex and we're meant to be together and we're twin flames and I need to get him back. So how do I do this hoodoo stuff? Like, chill. This stuff is not to be played with. There are definitely love spells out there. Personally, I've only ever done one, work to keep my marriage strong, to keep my relationship strong, to enhance, emotional vitality between the relationship so it's long lasting. I've never, ever, ever done any work to have a lover return or to break two people up. I just never have had a need. And you have to remember that hoodoo is for the just. You have to have a reason to be doing all that. If you want somebody to return to you just because you want to be with them and it's not really like your relationship, like let's say you have a toxic relationship and you're abusive and they decided to leave to protect themselves. You can't just throw a spell, throw a work, a root for your lover to come back so you can be toxic to them when they were justified in leaving. It's going to have some negative occurrences that are going to happen to you on the back end. And it's not like the Wiccan law of three or anything like that. Like if the work is just, if it's just, you really have to take a look. If it's you're married and you want to make sure that your man returns home and ain't no other huzzies gonna run up on him while he's on a business trip and you're just asking for the universe to protect the love that already belongs to you, that's just. That's just. Now, if you just want to take somebody, man, thotty, that's not gonna work. Well, it will work and you can do it. I'm just saying I've never done that, and there's gonna be some consequences that you may be okay with. I don't judge. I don't judge, thotty. Do you? Do you? Go get your man, girl. But be aware that there are some repercussions. So that being said and done, you want to make sure that when you're putting this work out, whatever it is you're doing, that you are building a barrier of protection for yourself as well. Rue. I don't know if you can get that in the grocery store. I've only gotten it from the Yuberia, but I do know that the Hispanic grocery stores do have them. And that is a personal favorite of mine for protection, for cleansing. When I make my floor wash, and sometimes I'm putting things in, but I've actually started to write down the formula because I'm going by memory from what I was told. And I'm trying to learn in depth because, when your grandma or your aunt or great auntie or your mama says, hey, throw a little hyssop in there, make sure you smoke out the house with vanilla and cinnamon while praying the Psalms 51 3 times. You're like, those are things that you just remember and you don't always necessarily look into the deeper basics of why. So I've been MIA because I've really been trying to make sure that not only do I know their way of teaching me, I know different modalities and a different mixture of different things because there's so much education out there. So to stop rambling, I'm sorry. One of the floor washes that's my favorite, and I tried to substitute for some more basic ingredients, is hyssop, rue, and mint. So you can get any of those in the grocery store. If you cannot get hyssop, and I'm sorry, hyssop is one that you'll get from the spiritual store or you'll order it. I haven't seen any grocery stores with hyssop because it's not a cooking herb, but it is a very commonly used religious herb referred to a lot in the Bible. If you can get the hyssop and the mint and the ruta and boil that into a tea and make your floor wash, so you'll boil it into a tea and then you'll add it to whatever ingredients you use to wash and purify your floor, and wash from the back to the front and sweep that out. Making sure you're, visualizing protection, calling on your ancestors and thanking them as you do so. So hopefully you sweep your house first before you mop it. Is that a question? Do people mop before they sweep? I don't know. Let me know if you do, but you're supposed to start with sweeping your floor from the back to the front, sweeping it out, and just getting all that negative energy out, and then get your floor wash and wash your floor with that and sweep that from the back to the front and get that energy out. And then you can lay salt in the four corners of your home or all the corners of your home for protection, and light a white candle. Light a white candle to start out with. On other days going forward, you can do a purple candle, but light a white candle, and just say your prayers. There's a book of Psalms. I did bring it, but you can use your Bible. But this book kind of guides you to what prayers work, for what rituals, for what purposes. And so I like this book because it will tell me, like, Psalms 1 is good for protection from those who wish to harm you. And it will let you know, burn a purple candle in the home daily and recite it in order to protect yourself from anybody trying to harm you. So I love that book, but there's a book of Psalms, and you can use the internet to find passages there that refer to you. So question, if you're not religious and you don't have a Bible, or you prefer not to read the book of Psalms, that's okay. You can pray or chant your mantras, but I will tell you that the Bible and Christianity, even if you're not practicing, they hid their work and their roots and their words and their directions. They hid that in the Bible, and this is a big book that they utilize. So whether they believed in the main God or not, a lot of the magic of hoodoo does come from references to God in the Bible, so that you know. So for the strength of your work, I suggest you get familiar with those references and what they are. Let's see here. I like to ramble. You can buy ready-made floor washes if you'd like. And when I started out, they were so simple, and I did. Like, this is a favorite one of mine. It's actually like a come to me. It's pink. It looks like two lovers, like, being together. And I actually use this in my prosperity and my money spells. You see, it's almost out because I started purchasing from some root workers that I really like one in the valley does oils, and I add her oils and make my own floor washes now. Crown of Success. And she has like a Vinami, which is a come to me. And when I'm doing my prosperity baths, I use those washes instead. But you can make a pre-made one. Like this one, I never got very far because I ended up making one with some ingredients from another conjure worker that I liked. But like Helping Hand was one that I used a lot. This is the last bottle that I used. And I added this to my herbs and to my cleaning agent. And I actually used Dr. Bonner's to like do a lot of cleaning around the house, and Simple Green. So I would add that, and the ratio is whatever you're comfortable with. So like it would be maybe 2 tablespoons of this, just depending on how big the bucket was that I was using. I'd use my floor wash. I always add bay leaf and cascarilla to my floor wash, but that's one thing. And then like I'd use a lemongrass. So, oh, there's my bay leaf. Yeah, and see, I'm running out, but I got this little package from the grocery store. These are also fun. A lot of people like to write their intentions on the bay leaf and then burn them while praying for their petitions. So that's a really easy one if you want love, health, wealth, prosperity. You get a bay leaf and write. It helps to use a Sharpie, trust me. Get a Sharpie and write that intention and then watch that bay leaf burn. There's different way to read them. Some people say if they burn slowly, if they catch and burn slowly, that's it's stronger that your intention is going to come through. So yeah, like I got this one, this thing full of lemongrass, lemon balm. I got it from the, where's my camera? I got it from the metaphysical store. I like to frequent the Uridias more than the big, astrology metaphysical store or the black-owned stores if they have them. Unfortunately, in Phoenix, Arizona, we have like 1 or 2. There's a Cuban zombie conjure has a Cuban, she's Cuban and she's something, but she's from the Afro-Caribbean culture, the Latin culture, and so we try to frequent her as much as possible. We really like to keep it in the community, but honestly, out here, it's really hard. So I am finding success ordering a lot of things online. One thing that I am ordering online that I'm absolutely in love with, but I was ordering it online, and then she has her own sachets in her store, is Van Van. And that's your homework for this video, is Van Van. Look up Van Van, and we're going to talk about that next time, along with your top 3 favorite protection herbs and why. Look up Van Van. The powder, it usually comes in oil form, powder form. You can really make your own very easily, but Van Van's very, very, very awesome. But I want you to take a second and take a look, and we're going to talk about that on the next video. So I am going to play board games with my kids who are very restless, trying to use this time to slowly teach them about hoodoo and get them involved. It's really cute. I've adopted teenagers, so I didn't have them from young, so this is a new practice to them, but they're like, where's that stuff you told me to put in the mop water? And so they're looking for it now. Like, so every time they do their chores, they're like, I need some of that stuff for the mop water. And I'm like, you only have to do it once a day. You're good. You only have to do it so often. But they're so diligent about it now, that they're including it, or they're like, go get your cards and read me. And I don't do a lot of readings for other people. I'm not no psychic, but I definitely am into the tarot. But the fact that they're catching on lets me know that this is a great time to take this time out and teach them how to protect themselves as well. So this video has been on a serious note because we are going through some serious things. I'm going to play some board games, go find some toilet paper, and kind of get them involved. And another thing I forgot to tell you, when you are saging and smoking, this big old thing of cinnamon sticks that I got for $5, and I use this all the time. I burn them, I smudge with them. You add it to your work to kind of speed it up and heat it up and make sure that it is invigorated. And so cinnamon is a great thing for you to use. But yeah, there's no reason to spend a bunch of money ordering things online when you can get basics from your grocery store. I even got the hot sauce that I add to a couple of my work. I went to the dollar store and got dollar store herbs, and hot sauce and bags and materials, and don't spend a lot of money. We need our money right now because the president acting a damn fool. So make sure that you are saving your money and being smart and protecting. And then look up that Van and your 3 favorite herbs, and I will talk to you soon.